China's strategic investment and influence in Latin America have grown exponentially over the past 2 decades. From infrastructure projects and space technology collaborations to political and military support, China's presence in the region is multifaceted and robust. This hypothetical analytical report delves into the comprehensive scope of Chinese engagement in Latin America, the resultant geopolitical shifts, and the potential implications for the United States. It examines how China is actually controlling the Americas, excluding the USA, and presents a scenario where the United States might need to reconsider its alliances and strategic orientation towards the BRICS nations. China's Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, has extended its reach to Latin America, resulting in substantial investments in infrastructure. Key projects include: China has financed and constructed major railway lines in Brazil and Argentina, enhancing connectivity and trade routes. The São Paulo-Campinas high-speed rail line in Brazil is a flagship project aimed at boosting regional trade. Chinese firms have invested in port facilities across Latin America, including major ports in Panama, Brazil, and Ecuador. These investments are crucial for facilitating the export of Latin American commodities to China and other markets. China has also made significant inroads into the energy sector. Chinese state-owned enterprises, or SOEs, have acquired stakes in oil fields in Venezuela, Brazil, and Ecuador. Sinopec and China National Petroleum Corporation, known as CNPC, have been instrumental in developing these resources. China is a leading investor in Latin American renewable energy projects, particularly in solar and wind energy. The Atacama Desert in Chile hosts some of the world's largest solar power installations, financed and constructed by Chinese companies. China's military cooperation with Latin American countries includes arms sales. China has sold military equipment to various Latin American nations, including fighter jets, naval vessels, and air defense systems. This not only strengthens local military capabilities, but also creates dependencies on Chinese technology and maintenance. Chinese military personnel are involved in training programs and joint exercises with Latin American armed forces. These initiatives foster closer military ties and enhance interoperability. China's collaboration in space technology includes satellite launches. China has launched satellites for countries like Brazil and Venezuela, providing critical communications and remote sensing capabilities. Collaborative projects in space research and technology development are ongoing, with joint efforts in satellite technology and space exploration. China's political influence is evident through diplomatic engagement. High-level diplomatic visits and participation in multilateral forums, such as the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, or CELAC, have strengthened China's political ties in the region. China has signed numerous bilateral agreements with Latin American countries, covering trade, investment, and cultural exchange. Latin America's inclusion in BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, signifies enhanced economic ties within BRICS that facilitate trade and investment flows, bolstering China's influence in Latin America. Latin American countries in BRICS often align with China's positions in international forums, reducing US and European influence. China's economic strategies have resulted in significant control over Latin America's key sectors. In terms of resource extraction, China has established dominance in mining, oil, and agriculture sectors through investments and long-term contracts. This approach ensures a steady supply of raw materials to China. Additionally, heavy investments often come with substantial debt obligations, a tactic known as debt diplomacy. This gives China leverage over the economic policies of indebted nations. China's influence also extends to the political sphere. By supporting friendly regimes, China backs political leaders and parties that align with its interests, providing them with financial aid and diplomatic backing. Moreover, By promoting alternatives to US-led initiatives and aligning with anti-US sentiments, China effectively undermines American political clout. Facing a scenario of reduced influence, the US might consider several strategic responses. One option is realignment with BRICS, which could provide economic benefits and help counterbalance China's dominance. Another strategy involves diversifying alliances by strengthening ties with countries in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. This approach reflects the diverse origins of US citizens and broadens its geopolitical reach. To maintain its global standing, the US could also focus on strategic autonomy. By enhancing technological leadership through investments in cutting-edge technologies, the US can remain a leader in innovation. Additionally, implementing economic reforms to boost domestic industries and reduce reliance on external economies would further solidify its position on the global stage. Conclusion: China's control over Latin America through strategic investments, military and technological collaborations, and political influence poses a significant challenge to US hegemony. The US must adapt to this new geopolitical reality by reconsidering its alliances and strategic priorities. This scenario underscores the need for the US to adopt a more flexible and diversified approach to international relations to maintain its global influence. Illustrations and data. Illustration 1. China's infrastructure investments in Latin America. Map highlighting major Chinese-funded infrastructure projects across Latin America. Illustration 2. Military equipment sales. Graph showing the volume of Chinese arms sales to Latin American countries over the past decade. Illustration 3. Satellite launch collaborations. Timeline of satellite launches conducted by China for Latin American countries. Data Table 1. Economic indicators. Table comparing GDP growth rates, trade volumes, and investment flows between China and Latin American countries. Additional analysis. Geopolitical implications. Shift in global power. The increasing influence of China in Latin America signals a shift in global power dynamics, reducing the traditional dominance of the US and Europe. Regional stability. While Chinese investments bring economic benefits, they may also lead to regional dependencies and potential conflicts over debt and sovereignty issues. Long-term projections. Sustainable development. The long-term impact of Chinese projects on the sustainable development of Latin American countries remains uncertain. Technological dependence. Heavy reliance on Chinese technology could limit the growth of indigenous technological capabilities in Latin America. Cultural and social impact. Cultural exchange. Increased cultural exchanges between China and Latin America could lead to greater mutual understanding and influence. Social dynamics. The social implications of Chinese presence, including labor practices and community relations, require careful examination. Conclusion: extended. In this scenario, China's comprehensive and multifaceted engagement with Latin America signifies a strategic shift in global geopolitics. The US, traditionally the dominant power in the Western Hemisphere, must now navigate a complex landscape where China's influence is pervasive. This report illustrates the potential decline of US hegemony and suggests strategic realignments that the US could consider to adapt to this evolving geopolitical environment.